How's it going, guys? It's Joe. Welcome to the channel. Today we are in round 2 of week 1 and we are up against Feral Porg. Now, in my experience and from what I've seen, the Porgs seem quite friendly, but as you can see, this guy is feral, so it should be a good matchup here today, guys. 7.2 million GP up against 6.4. We are matched up in the top 80 as per usual. I do have more tier 7 relics. However, in terms of rank, we are pretty closely matched up. He does have a little bit more lifetime banners, so a little bit more experience there. 116 more rounds. And in terms of the mods, he does beat me by 4 in the plus 20. He's got 100 more in the 6.mod, or 100 less, sorry, in the 6.mod section, so I've actually got the edge there. And looking at his offensive plus 100s though, he beats me by a landslide there, as he's got about 40 more. Now looking at the board here, guys, at the bottom he's got the Grievous, Newt Separatists, and in the top is where the heavy defense is, as he's got his Rey, his Palpatine, and Darth Revan. So we're going to go right for this Grievous, and as per usual we're going to be using our Night Sisters. So as per my previous battle, this actually played out quite similarly. Although I did change it up a bit. I tried to stun Grievous here and it didn't seem to work out for us. But I did opt to spread the plague stacks quite early. Now we've got Force Mark on B2, and we're not landing any of our stuns here. However, we do have plague stacks on the field, which is always good. And now we're just slowly trying to whittle away at that B2, and we finally get rid of the B1 just from having plague stacks. And as you can see, we're getting revives fairly quickly, so we want to stun Grievous. Plague stacks drop B2 Super Battle Droid, and now I'm just waiting to get my health back. So gonna use a basic here, gonna try and cycle around and then use the third ability, which should regenerate max health. So we really want to quickly get rid of these 3 squads here in the bottom. That way we can see what's hiding in the back, as this gent does have all 3 Galactic Legends. And I find this team to be quite reliable, the Rebels, as we're going to remove turn meter from Newt there, and we're going to drop Dooku from that third ability. So there's a ton of control and turn meter reduction going on in this team. That's pretty awesome. Although it seems to me that having Newt on defense is pretty tricky, as he does revive. The other thing that can work is if I'm able to apply daze before he revives. However, that wasn't the case, and he was able to use his second ability, which took a little bit of protection out of Han Solo. Now I was mucking around a little bit here as I wanted to get the Mandalorian feat. And in my experience, a lot of the time when players try and set a non-heavy front wall, it's almost always usually a heavy back wall. So really I didn't want to expend a high-end team against this Sith team in the bottom walls, although it's looking like we're gonna lose Greef Karga fairly soon, and we haven't hit our payout yet. So what I did realize here was that I didn't have Mando's leadership maxed out, which was quite unfortunate, and we're not really getting to our payout here. And it took us a while to get past Scion. So realistically speaking, we're not going to be getting good banners either way. So really I was just hoping to get to the payout and ultimately really quickly get to my Annihilate. So I still have Bounty Hunter's Resolve, so I'm able to revive. There's the payout and we've got our Execute there. So 48 banners, not very good. Now looking at this gent's history as well, he does like to play the efficiency game. So by the time I had realized that when I saw the back walls that there wasn't really anything too menacing, so he was protecting his ships. And this is a really tough Rey team, looking at having Han Solo and Chewbacca here. The idea here is Han Solo is going to take the first turn. He's going to stun Thrawn, as the AI almost always targets Thrawn. And we're going to use our third ability, which is the AoE on Kylo, and that dispels that stun. Now we're going to stun Chewie and we're going to fracture Rey. Once that's happened, we're going to siphon as much as we can. Chewie drops fairly quickly. And we're going to drop Rey and try to get her to the damage immunity. We got her there. Thrawn's about to take a turn. We're going to pass that to Supreme Leader. And we're going to stun Han Solo here. Now Rey's going to get to her ultimate, which is quite inevitable at this point. But I was quite unlucky as I couldn't get the final hit on Han Solo. So now I'm just going to try as best I can to quickly charge the ultimate ability. And it looks like that fracture got us to 100%. And typically when you fight Rey in 3v3, this is what happens, where it's going to be Kylo and Rey 1v1 towards the end. Which is why I really wanted to save the ultimate ability for when she starts to ramp up, as we all know if it's 1v1 and she gets to her ultimate ability and I don't have the ult on Kylo, that becomes quite troublesome, as Kylo won't survive that ultimate. So for the sake of science, I did try and play the efficiency game here as well. So I actually saved all my Galactic Legends. And thinking about the mods for this team as well, this Revan is no pushover, as you can see he's pretty fast at about 336 speed, so I really wanted to get rid of him quite quickly. I do have Barriss Offee. Now it was quite unfortunate that HK went for Barriss there, as I lost all my protection on her at this point. Now I did get my health back on Rey. So we're going to use the ultimate here. And we really had no choice. We weren't going to be able to get the protection back that we had lost. So still trying to be efficient. So far it was a really bad muck-up on that Mando team. As if I had realized that the back walls weren't very heavily defended, and I probably could have saved that Mando team for a team on the back wall instead. And I find this JKR team quite reliable against this Finn-led Resistance heroes, as you don't really give them an opportunity when using this team. You got Mark on Hero Finn. Then we're going to quickly cycle around Mark yet again, and we're going to mark Poe. And we do still have a decent amount of health and protection here. And these guys were modded quite fast as well, if I recall. That Finn, or the Resistance hero Finn, and Poe were at least 320 plus speed each. So this can get quite tricky. And lastly, I'm going to use JML against this Sith team. This is a really tough Sith team to be battling against in 3v3, as once Bastila Fallen applies the fear, it quickly turns the tide of the battle as they take so many turns and you're unable to take a turn, as under a Palp lead, the more debuffs expire, the more turn meter these guys accumulate. And having Malak here is insane as well. So really this battle took much longer than what I would have wanted or expected. Initially they had foresight, so they actually were able to dodge the Efflux. And now we've got ability blocks out on the field. Although Bastila is regenerating health and protection there. So it took us a fair bit. And I did plan to get JML as the leadership. As long as I had protection in that case, it would seem like I had Bactoid Shield Generator on Luke. As you can see here, we're popping Darth Malak down to the red pretty quickly. Got ability block, and we are trying to regenerate a bit of protection back on Hermit Yoda, which didn't really work out towards the end. In the back walls, it looks like he placed Rebel ships as well as Empire. And down here, bunch of Night Sister squads. Bugs. So this is quite a reliable counter to bugs. Having Wat Tambor here, 300k damage on that spy. And we almost dropped them all on basics there. So they're going to take a bit of protection off of Vader, which is quite unfortunate. This Culling Blade should do the trick, and I did try to regain a bit of that protection and just ended up losing protection on Wat Tambor instead. Which is quite unfortunate. Typically I don't like using Grievous on offense either. However, in 3v3 it's quite a viable option, as having B1 and B2 just allows for your team to continuously gain turn meter. And not only that, the second ability on B1 actually regenerates your protection, and it allows for you to get a decent banner count. So we're finally able to drop the Acolyte, and now we're just slowly whittling away. Asajj does a heal. Try to regenerate protection on the B2, and currently it looks like it's just Grievous that doesn't have any protection. And when he does take a turn, the Metalloid monstrosity takes a little bit of protection out of B2 Super Battle Droid as well. This is a pretty solid counter to this Night Sister squad as well. Having gas on the leadership allows for no revives, so pretty easy undersize. And lastly, we're going to use Padme against this Droideka. Now looking at the Droideka speed, it wasn't too menacing. I had my Padme modded pretty fast, so really I wanted to get rid of him as he was the only threat in this matchup. And we finally get rid of the 2 Geos. Now since my opponent actually likes to start his offensive battles towards the end of his opponent's battles, I decided to attack quite early, as I was quite busy during the day and I didn't really have enough time to wait. So I was looking to undersize these ships as much as I could. And this is quite reliable as I did save both my meta ships. I'm losing a fair bit of health and protection on Anakin, so I do call out Plo fairly early. Gain a bit of turn meter there. And we're just going to use our basic here to get rid of Darth Vader. So pretty solid banners. I did undersize an extra, I was down 2 ships, 2 reinforcements. And I did the same with my Malevolence battle here. And it's hard to risk with ships, although I do have meta ships. The problem could be that if these guys had RNG on their side, that they would apply a ton of target lock on our characters, and that can be problematic having Bistan there on the front lines, as he's going to be assisting and spreading target lock and applying a ton of damage as well. So we've got buzz droids out on the field, which is pretty good. We got our spy out, so we're going to target Han Solo's Millennium Falcon, and we really didn't need Houndstooth there towards the end. So probably could have spared an extra undersize. But ultimately this is our score. Having a look at my defense here, guys. There's about 10 more hours left on the clock. And for the sake of science, I do like placing a pretty decent defense, although at this point I didn't place any Galactic Legends. I like placing the Rex lead and Palpatine lead on defense. That Jedi Knight Luke lead is a bit of a trap as well, as if you take it lightly and you have quite a fast Shaak Ti, they're going to take quick turns and they're going to utilize Heroes Arise, which could mess up your team, and having a turn meter preloaded Luke isn't a very good thing to be going up against. Now after some time waiting, I believe it was 4 hours, 5 hours left on the clock, he did start his attacks. Now unfortunately he was much more efficient than me, or not much more, by 1 banner. Which is quite heartbreaking to say the least, but you know, this happens and we just have to keep trucking, you know, have to keep going, trying our hardest for the next one. So I hope you liked the content today, guys. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.